Good evening, friends. As we know that yesterday, like October 4, 2020, there was a UPSC civil service exam was conducted. In this examination, as we know that in the paper one, which is important with respect to qualifying the mains examination, there were 100 questions. Out of that 100 questions, there are some questions which are related to what economy, or I can say that approximately 17 to 19, okay, the questions from, okay, economy questions. And most of the questions, as like last year only, there was a trend. The UPSC has given the trend that, okay, I'm going to ask more questions from agriculture, because last year prelims also there was more questions from agriculture. Even this year also, okay, that's this they taken more and more, okay, the minute details of agriculture. As they asked more and more questions from agriculture, okay, does not mean that next year also we should concentrate minute details of agriculture, or we should prepare only agriculture from economy. Nothing like that. Even this time also it has proven that from economy there were two types of question. One is basic, and second is what, your current affairs. And some questions are combination of both basic and your current affairs. Is it okay? Now, in this session, we are going to discuss like what are the like probable answer for the questions asked by UPSC. Okay, whatever the probable. So because, so even again, I can say that, okay, I can say that maybe the 5% plus or minus 5% error will be there in the key answers. Okay, so why you say like that? There are plus or minus 5% error will be there in the key answer, because the perspective of UPSC and the perspective of the individual may differ, sir, may differ. So in that context, okay, so whatever the best possible, okay, with respect to the key answers, this is the session which is going to explain why that key answer is the best option with respect to that question. Why not the other options, okay, with respect to whatever the questions in the economy. Okay, so shall we start now? The first one, again, let me take with respect to the agriculture question. That is, what are the advantages of fertigation? Okay, fertigation. Here, first we should know that what is fertigation, sir. We should know that what is fertigation. Sir, the fertigation generally in agriculture, okay, generally. So in a layman word, we can say that fertigation is nothing, is a process in which your fertilizer, whatever the fertilizer the farmer uses. Why the farmer uses the fertilizers, sir? The farmer uses the fertilizers to increase what? Nutrients, sir. Nutrients in the soil. He wants to increase the nutrients in the soil, sir. To increase the nutrients in the soil, he will go for what? Using the fertilizer. Now, sir, again, sir, as the soil is lacking of nutrients, basically in the soil, we get two types of nutrients. One is macronutrients and micronutrients, both the types. Like as we know that those are, what are the macronutrients? Basically, generally we take it as your NPK, nitrogen, phosphate, and potash. And micronutrients, your zinc, iron, boron, all these are what? Okay, micronutrients. Now, the general method of what? Providing the nutrient to the soil is what? The farmer will simply throw the, okay, simply throw what? The fertilizer on the soil, okay, soil. But see, in the fertigation method, this method, what is this fertigation method? Sir, the fertilizer will be dissolved, sir. It will be dissolved. Okay, dissolved, which means in the water it will be soluble. So it will be dissolved, and after dissolved with the water, okay, after it is dissolved with the water, now it will be distributed via what? Either drip or your, basically drip or spray irrigation, sir. So that, see, fertilizers will be mixed with water, dissolved, and that water which contains the fertilizer, which is already, okay, which is the water which is having what? Fertilizers in that, okay, that water will be distributed to the plants via what? Drip irrigation. This is called as fertigation. Remember that. First, you see, to answer this type of questions, you should know that what is this fertigation and what is that? Like dissolve the fertilizer with the water. So why fertilizers? Basically, see, maybe sir, take example, chemical fertilizers. Okay, see why we use this the fertilizer to increase the nutrients in the soil. What are the two types of like what like basically in the soil, either macro like soil will consist of what macronutrients and micronutrients both. Now, sir, now come to the options, sir. Come to the options. Sir, controlling the alkalinity of irrigation water is possible with respect to, okay, that is fertigation. It controls the alkaline of alkalinity of irrigation water is possible. Now, sir, what is this? Sir, whenever, if you consider this is the agricultural field in India, sir, in India, assume that this is the paddy samplings or rice samplings. This is rice sampling. What the farmers in India, sir, our farmers will follow a irrigation called flood irrigation, sir. Our farmers follow a irrigation called what? Flood irrigation. So what is the meaning of this flood irrigation? Which means always the farmer feels that, okay, my paddy field or wheat field should have what? Always it should have what? Water. Which means one type, that is what we call it as what? Flood irrigation, sir. Okay, and because of always the farmer try to maintain what? Water in the field, water in the field. Now that water, okay, the water, sir, as the water, see this water which also carries what? Micronutrient to the water table, that is below the water table. So which means what? Water loses what? The nutrient, it will become what? Alkalinity. Okay, it will become what? It increases the soil alkalinity. Now, with the help of this fertigation, okay, with the help of fertigation, which means what? Water will be, that is fertilizers and water will be provided only whatever the amount of water is required to that particular plant, only that much of water, only that much of what? Fertilizers will be provided means what? It controls the alkalinity of irrigation, sir. So I can say that this statement is correct. This statement is correct. Okay. Now, come to the second statement, sir. Efficient application of rock phosphate and all other phosphatic fertilizer is possible. Sir, here the question arises is, sir, what is this efficient? Okay, efficient application of rock phosphate. No, sir. That is what I'm telling. Sir, here there is no chances of what? Okay, like efficient application of rock phosphate and all other phosphatic fertilizers is not possible. So with respect to fertigation, this statement is wrong, sir. This statement is wrong. Now, sir, even with the help of this only, we can eliminate all the options. Okay, we can eliminate. Sir, why? If 2 is wrong, just check it out the option. Sir, 2 here, this cannot be. Even the second cannot be. Okay, even fourth cannot be. The answer is fourth, the third one. That is 1, 3, 4 only. 1, 3, 4 only. But sir, let me explain. Increase the availability of nutrient to plants is possible. Yes, take example. This is only I have taken. Increase the availability of nutrients, because whatever the, like with respect to that plant, how much, okay, fertilizer is required, how much water is required, that can be done only with the help of, mainly with the help of what? Your fertigation. Mainly with the help of what? Fertigation. That is, obviously it is helping that. Next, reducing in the leaching of chemical nutrients is possible. Reducing the chemical, okay, the using of what? Leaching of what? Chemical nutrient is possible. So what is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? Sir, always, so most of the time what will happen when, see this example, I told you that when the farmer follow the flood irrigation, when the farmer follow flood irrigation, when always keeps the water in the agricultural field, what will happen? The leaching of what? Okay, the water will leach towards what? The ground. So when it leach, it also carries what? Chemical nutrients, sir. So which means what? The underground table, underground water table may go for what? Pollute. So that can be reduced with the help of what? This fertigation. So the option with respect to this is 1, 3, 4, sir. With respect to this is what? 1, 3, 4. Now come to the second question in the economy, sir. The second question. The second question is related to, okay, banking, sir. The second question is related to what? Banking. Now, again, maybe this option. The second question is related to banking, sir. Sir, here, what is the importance of term interest coverage ratio of a firm in India? What is the importance of what? Term okay, used, okay, with respect to what? With respect to interest coverage ratio of a firm. Firm means what? Companies or something, sir. Okay, now, sir, here, what are the options? It helps in understanding the present risk of a firm that a bank is going to give loan to. It helps in evaluating the emerging risk of a firm that a bank is going to give loan to. The higher borrowing firm level of interest coverage ratio, the worse is its ability to service its debt. So this interest coverage ratio, interest coverage ratio, sir, is related to two things you have to follow, sir. This interest coverage ratio is used by the firm and the bank for what purpose, sir? For what purpose? So basically, one, if you know the definition of interest coverage ratio, it is a ratio, sir. As it says that it is a ratio of what? Debt ratio and profitability ratio. Profitability ratio used to determine how easily a company can pay interest on debt. On debt. This is the definition of what? Interest coverage ratio, sir. This is the interest coverage ratio. Now, it is the ratio of what? Debt ratio and profitability ratio used to determine how easily a company can pay interest debt. Sir, can you give one example for this so that easily we can understand? Then we come back to the what is the importance of term interest coverage ratio. Sir, just take a small example, sir. Assume that La Excellence is a company, sir. Assume that La Excellence is a company. Okay. How La Excellence is handling, its outstanding debt. Assume that La Excellence has taken some loan from the bank, sir, from Canara Bank. La Excellence has taken some loan. How they are handling that loan? Okay, how they are handling that outstanding debt? Outstanding debt is called as what? Okay, I can say that interest coverage ratio, sir. One thing. Sir, now the question arises is, sir, if a company, which means what? If the company is regularly paying, okay. So if the company is regularly paying and if the company's financial condition is good, so automatically the company's interest coverage ratio will be what? Okay, good only, sir. And a good, remember that if the company maintains a good interest coverage ratio is considered as, okay, considered as important by the okay, investors, sir. Why, sir? Why the investors will consider the interest coverage ratio, sir? Sir, because, sir, the investors are any market analysts also. Assume that you want to purchase the shares of that company. Assume that you want to purchase what? Okay, bonds of that particular company. The company wants to raise the capital, sir. If the company wants to raise the capital, automatically they will check. Okay, is that company is having good interest coverage ratio or bad interest coverage ratio? Is that outstanding debt, whatever the debt earlier they have taken? See, basically for individual, we have what? Individual. Even for companies also, we have some credit information companies. Okay, we have credit information companies. Like that, the companies, the firm will also go for what? Okay, so like with the investors and the market analyst, they also consider this interest coverage ratio to check what is the financial condition of the company, sir. Remember that, financial condition of the company. Okay, now, sir, with respect to that, now come back. What is the importance of the term interest coverage ratio of a firm in India? It helps in understanding the present risk of a firm that a bank is going to give loan to. Yes. Okay, which means they'll analyze that if the bank is given the, okay, if the bank is given the loan, so if the bank is going to give the loan earlier, whatever the previous debt was there, is that bank is considered the previous loan or not, they'll also consider that. So the first statement is correct. Okay, yes, it is the importance of the term is that one only. The second, it helps in evaluating the emerging risk of a firm that a bank is going to give loan to. Yes, sir. because the bank will also came to know that, see, if I give the loan, outstanding debt is this much. How they maintain that outstanding debt is that they have given back, or regularly they are paying the EMI and everything. So everything is considered an interest coverage ratio, and it also helps the bank for what? Okay, what will be the emerging risk of a firm if I give this loan? Okay, what are the emerging risk? Okay, that is also, yes sir, they can check it out this also. And higher a borrowing firm level, higher a borrowing firm's level of interest coverage ratio, the worse is its ability to service its debt. Now this statement is wrong, sir. Sir, it is not the higher, sir. It is the lower a borrowing firm's level of interest coverage ratio, the worse is its ability to service its debt, sir. So third option is wrong. It should be lower. The word higher should be removed and they should add what? Lower, sir. So if you eliminate 3 or whatever, so the option is 1 and 2, sir. The option is 1 and 2. Sir, I'll repeat once again. A company's interest coverage ratio determine the first thing, sir. What it determines? It determines whether it can pay off its old debt, sir. First thing, remember that. Okay. Is that any company they can pay off its debt? Is that they have enough asset, or is that they have enough, okay, I can say capital, physical assets, capital to pay off the debt? That will be decided based on your interest coverage ratio, sir. That is will be decided. And remember, creditors, that is banks, lenders, creditors can use this ratio to decide whether to lend money to that company or not, sir. Remember that. The lenders or the creditors, they also check that, hey, I should give the money to that particular company or not based on this interest coverage ratio only. A lower ratio may be unattractive to investors. Remember that. It is unattractive, lower ratio. Okay, because it may mean that company is not poised for growth. Remember that. May be unattractive. Okay, that is the second question, sir. Now come to third question. Now, come to third question. Now, this is related to a Kisan Credit Scheme, sir. Now, remember, sir, why they asked this Kisan Credit Scheme? If you remember, in the month of August 2020, as fiscal stimulus package, as you know that the government has went for what? Okay, providing fiscal stimulus to the economy through a policy called what? Atmanirbhar policy. Okay, now in that, even though it is not mentioned in that, but to support the agriculture sector which was affected due to COVID, this pandemic, COVID, sir, in August 2020, the government has said that, okay, under Kisan Credit Card Scheme, we are going to give more loan to what? The farmer. The distribution of loan will increases via Kisan Credit Card Scheme. That is what they said to support the agriculture. Now just read this. Under the Kisan Credit Card Scheme, short-term credit support is given to farmers for which of the following purpose? Sir, even you need not to refer anything with respect to this scheme, sir. Easily you can eliminate. Sir, how? Now take example, short-term credit. Short-term. Sir, if the farmers are going for purchasing machineries, okay, or vehicles, mainly vehicles, agricultural vehicles, sir, it will be a long-term loan, sir. It will be a long-term loan. Remember that. If the farmers go for what? Purchasing the tractors, harvesters, mini truck, remember, is that they'll go for taking the loan only for less than 1 year, less than 2 years, less than 3 years? No, sir. They'll take the loan for what? Okay, 6 years, 7 years. Why? Because as the amount will be, take example, for tractor, maybe 5 lakh rupees or 7 lakh rupees will be the tractor cost. Is it possible for the farmer to pay back that loan, okay, of 5 lakh rupees or 7 lakh rupees in 1 year or 15 months? 15 months or 2 years? No, sir. They'll take for what? 5 years, 6 years. Now, if you know this much, you can eliminate, sir. Why? Purchase of combine harvesters, tractors, and mini trucks. This is wrong, sir. If you eliminate 2, sir, check it out. So the left out is only 1, 3, 4. Don't worry, sir. Okay, just understand this. Yes, take example. Working capital for maintenance of farmer sites. Yes, they'll take the loan under Kisan Credit Card. Okay, under Kisan Credit Card Scheme for the short term for work. Like remember, for maintaining what? Farmer sites. What is that maintaining? Maybe they want to go for what? Maybe maintenance of farm asset. Farm means agriculture assets. maybe in their agricultural land, they want to go for fencing so that, okay, wild animals should not enter their agriculture field. Yes, for that they require the loan. Okay, maybe they require what? Small amount, sir, small amount. Or they want to go for what? Okay, construction of a small pond, small pond. Okay, that is working capital. Yes, small pond they want to construct. It's for construction of small pond, how much they require? Yes, the first statement is correct. Second statement, as I told you that, leave it, sir. Don't worry. Second statement, tractors. Basically, tractors, for the tractors, the farmers will go for what? Taking the long-term loan, sir, not short-term. Now, the third one, consumption requirement of farm household. Yes, sir. What is that consumption? They require, they want to, okay, assume that they want to go for, okay, purchasing the, like, food grains, purchasing the food grains. Sir, if they don't have the money, they want to borrow the money from the bank under Kisan Credit Card Scheme. They use it for what? Okay, purchasing what? Okay, food grains or purchasing anything. So yes, sir, consumption also. Okay, next, yes, sir, even after for post-harvest expenses also, okay, under Kisan Credit Card Scheme, they'll give the loan. If you check official website of Kisan Credit Card Scheme, official website of Kisan Credit Card Scheme, officially it has mentioned that yes, for post-harvest expenses also, this one, the loan will be taken. But remember, sir, what about this construction of family house and setting up of village cold storage facility? No, sir. Okay, with respect to this, with respect to construction of family house, for the construction of house, okay, they won't give the loan under Kisan Credit Card Scheme, sir. Under Kisan Credit Card Scheme, they won't give the loan, okay, for construction of houses, for the construction of house, sir, for the construction of house, for the construction of house. Is it okay? Now easily you can click the answer as what? 134, sir. 134. 134. 134. 134. Now come to the inflation, sir. Okay, inflation. Now, sir, we know that. Okay, sir, what is inflation? The general increase in the price of what? The goods and services in a particular time period is called as what? Inflation. General increase. To calculate inflation in India, we have the basic indexes called what? One is WPI, one is CPI, sir. The wholesale price index and consumer price index, which is also called as retail price index also, correct? Sir, in wholesale price index, remember the wholesale price index, it will calculate as of now, since 2017 May onwards, the wholesale price index, that is at the wholesale market, the Department of Economic Advisor, okay, our economic office under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, they calculate the price fluctuation at wholesale market for how many goods, sir? 697 goods. Remember, in wholesale market, you will only get goods with base year 2011-12. Remember that. Out of this 677 goods, which are divided into three parts, sir. One is your primary articles, that is food items, sir. Food items, basically food items. What is the weightage for this 697 in the primary? Approximately 22%. Okay. The second is manufacturing goods. So what is the weightage? Approximately 64%, approximately. And the third is fuel, electricity related goods, sir. Okay, the left out, 64 plus 22, 86, 86. This is approximately 13 point something. So let me take, because this is 64 point something and this is 22 point something. Is that okay? Now this is WPA. And remember, consumer price index also calculate the price fluctuation. See, is that inflation is there or deflation is there on monthly basis, okay, for, okay, both goods and services. Remember that for both goods and services with base year 2012, sir, with base year 2012. In that base year, with respect to the CPI, again we have three types, sir. CPI rural, CPI urban, and CPI combined. CPI rural, for rural, maybe approximately 448 goods and services. The price fluctuation every month they calculate. At the urban, okay, for 460 goods and services, every month they calculate the price fluctuation. Okay, with a base year of what? 2012, sir. With a base year of what? 2012. Now come to the question, sir. Come to the question. Okay. Here out of this, okay, out of whatever with respect to the CPI number of goods and services, remember the food items weightage is approximately 47%, sir. Approximately 47%. Approximately 47%. So what will be the answer? Now go to the first statement, sir. The first statement says what? The weightage of food in CPI is higher than that in WPI. Check it out. What is the weightage in WPI for the food items? 22%. What is the weightage for the food and beverages? In CPI data, if you check, if you know the basic concepts, it says what? Food and beverages is approximately 47%. So again, the first statement is correct. Now come to second statement. The WPI does not capture the changes in the prices of services, which CPI does. Yes. WPI consider only what? Goods. CPI consider both goods and services, sir. So second statement is correct. Now come to the third statement. The Reserve Bank of India has now adopted WPI as its key measure of inflation and to decide on changing the key policy rate. Wrong, sir. Sir, in 2014 only, there was a committee appointed by RBI called Urjit Patel Committee. That time he was not the governor also. The Urjit Patel Committee, and this committee has recommended that CPI should be used as a nominal anchor, sir. CPI should be used as what? Nominal anchor to decide the policy rates. Which means what? RBI, what is policy rate, sir? Your repo rate. To decide the repo rate, to check the money supply in the market, if the money supply is more or if the money supply is less, to check that, okay, the RBI should consider only the data of what? Inflation data of what? CPI. So this statement is wrong, sir. So 1 and 2 only correct. 1 and 2 only correct. Now come to the next one. Once again, your agriculture, sir. Once again, your agriculture. Now this topic is related to MSP, sir. This topic is related to MSP. And if you are following the UPSC question paper, previous year question paper, sir, a serious candidate would have taken the MSP seriously, sir. Sir, why? From past 2 years, even in the mains also, there was a question in 2018. Last year and before last year also, there was one question related to MSP, sir. MSP. Now, even because you know that from past one month, I can say that with respect to APMC Act and everything, there are 3 bills which are related to agriculture. Is as the central government is forcing the state government to pass it. All over India, the farmers are going for protest. Even in the protest also, the opposition with respect to the 3 bills is what? Maybe central government may stop what? MSP. In that case, you would have read MSP more and more. Maybe, sir. Now listen this. What is this MSP? It is the minimum price announced by the government for 22 plus 1 commodity, sir. Remember, okay, what is this one commodity? Sugarcane. Because for sugarcane, the MSP, okay, announced by the government will be called as what? FRP, sir. Fixed, okay, remunerative price or fair remunerative price. Both the terminology they use. Now 22 plus 1. You can say 23, but why uses 22? Because sugarcane, even though government announces the MSP for the sugarcane, government only not procure the sugarcane from the farmers, sir. It will be procured by what? Your private sugar industries also, cooperative sugar industries also, even government industries also procure at a rate of what? MSP, that is sugarcane they will procure. Is that okay? Now, sir, out of this 22 commodities, 22, leave the sugarcane. The 14 commodities are related to Kharif crops. 14 crops are Kharif crops and 6 are Rabi seasons crops, sir. So what about remaining 2 plus this 1? These are considered as your annual crops, sir. Basically, your what is that? Your jute, copra, and sugarcane. These 3. Will not add this to these 3 in what? Kharif and Rabi seasons. Leave it. I don't want to comment anything. Now within Kharif, so the government, remember, who will announce the MSP? Even that is also a question they asked. Remember, in India, MSP is recommended by CACP, sir. It is recommended by CACP under Agriculture Ministry. Commission for Agricultural Cost and Price will recommend the MSP to the government. In government, okay, there is a committee called Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs under the chairmanship of what? Prime Minister. They announces the MSP for this 22+1 commodity before the starting of season. Remember that. Okay. If the Kharif season starts from June, so automatically in the month of May, the government announces the MSP. If the Rabi season starts from October, in the month of September, okay, or October, they'll announce us what? Like MSP for those 6 commodities, sir. Remember that. Now, sir, what is this MSP? It's a minimum price. When the government announces this MSP for any particular commodity, particular crop, sir, the government says what? I'll procure that commodity, particular commodity at a rate announced by that CCEA. Sir, is it your prime minister or your finance minister or agriculture minister, they will go to farmers and they will procure themselves? No, sir. The government is having a arrangement in the name called what? Central agencies. Central agencies like what? Your FCI, Food Corporation of India, Cotton Corporation of India, Jute Corporation of India, NAFED, the cooperative level, national level, a cooperative organization called NAFED. These central organizations, they will go to farmer. Okay, basically they will not go to, okay, they will have a procurement centers and the farmer can sell, okay, their commodity, this 22 commodity to this central agency, sir. Wherever the central agency is having the procurement center, farmer has to sell in that procurement center, they can get the money with respect to that price. Now in India, sir, even though the government says that, okay, government says that I have announced the MSP with respect to this commodity, okay, and I'll only procure with the help of central agencies. But the problem is, sir, this sentence you should remember, sir. In the case of all cereals, that is your paddy, wheat, all this, pulses, okay, your tur dal, moong dal, all this, oil, basically oil seeds, your edible oil seeds, sir. Okay, sunflower and everything. The procurement at MSP is unlimited in any state and union territory of India. No, sir. Sir, with respect, if they asked only cereals, I would have said the statement is correct. Yes. But with respect to pulses and oil, the central agencies, they'll put quota, sir. What is this quota? They say to the farmers that from each farmer will collect only this much. Assume that I'm a farmer. Okay. I'll show that yes, my land is this much. Okay. Then the government, like again, the central agencies will put that from one farmer, okay, will collect only 100 kgs or 1000 kgs of oil seeds. But with respect to cereals, mainly your paddy and wheat, sir. So there is no limit. Sir, remember, there is no limit, unlimited procurement. Sir, why? The government go for unlimited procurement of cereals because there is central agencies. Why are central agencies government? Because, sir, these are the cereals which are distributed to BPL families through a system called PDS, Public Distribution System. At a subsidized cost, to achieve the food security, the government is giving what? Cereals to the like BPL families. For that purpose, they go for procuring. Even cereals also they may put what? Quota in some states. Remember that. But most of the cases, if cereals would have given, maybe I would have taken yes. But the pulses and oil seeds, they say that, so they put a quota, sir. So this statement is wrong. In the case of cereals and pulses, the MSP is fixed in any state and UT at a level to which the market price will never rise. No, sir. Any commodity, this 22 commodity, the MSP is fixed, not by your state, sir. Okay, it is fixed by what? Okay, it is recommended by CACP, and based on the recommendation, sir, who will fix it, sir? Okay, the Prime Minister, headed by what? Like CC, there is a committee called what? Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. So the option is neither one nor two, sir. The option is this one. Both the statements are wrong. Now come to the next statement. Again, okay, one is related to your financial markets. Within that financial market, they asked about your money market, sir. They asked about what? Money market. Sir, what is this? Sir, if a company require the capital, remember, okay, if a company require the capital, always the company will have two options, sir. Either they can go for what? Borrowing, or they can go for what? Partnership. Equity means partnership. Debt means what? The borrowing. How they will borrow? With the help of bonds, sir.
So what about equity? Equity means what? They'll issue the share certificate. Bond, there are two types, sir. One is short term. They'll go for what? Raising the capital for short term. Raising the capital for what? Long term, sir. Now, here, short term. Sir, if the government wants to raise the capital for short term with the help of issuing the bonds, that is called as your treasury bill, sir. That is called as what? Your treasury bill. If the private company issue, the registered private company issue the bonds to raise the capital, then it is called as what? Commercial paper. Commercial paper. Long term, sir, if the government issue the bonds to raise the capital for more than 1 year, short term means less than 1 year, that is called as your GSEC, government bonds, government securities. More than 1 year, if the private company issue, that is called as what? Debentures. First, you should know this much. These are the certificates. Capitals, like remember, bonds or shares are the securities. Where if I want to raise, assume that, okay, assume that I want to expand my excellence company even in other places. For that, I require a capital. Now I'll go for what? Money market. Okay, I'll go for money market or capital market. I'll register my company and I'll go for what? Issuing my company bonds. Or I'll go for what? Issuing my company shares. You got my point? In bond, there are two types, short term and long term, sir. Less than 1 year, that is short term. More than 1 year, it is called as long term, sir. Now come to this. Commercial paper is a short term unsecured promissory note. Commercial paper is a short term. Yes, it is a short term. If the private company issue the bonds to raise the capital, it is called as what? Short term. Okay. Now, sir, certificate of deposit. Certificate of deposit is a long term instrument issued by RBI to a corporation. Now, so basically certificate of a deposit is issued by banks, sir, not RBI. The statement is wrong. Okay, the statement is wrong, sir. So automatically second is left out. So these two statements are gone. So obviously one should be like one is correct. As one is correct, so obviously the left out option is only this much. Like that, don't worry, sir. But still, let me take the third one. Call money is a short-term finance used by interbank transaction. Yes, sir. Even now the banks are not using. Earlier, the banks used to have call money, notice money, sir. What is this? Sir, assume that if two banks, there is one bank called Canara Bank, one bank is called as SBI, sir. Okay. Canara Bank require some capital. Okay, rather than going to the markets to raise the capital with help of issuing the bonds, what the Canara Bank, they used to ask the SBI that, hey, give me 1 crore rupees loan, man. Simply, sir, don't worry. Then the SBI used to say that, yes, I'll give. For how many days? 1 day. For how many days? 1 day, sir. Remember that. 1 day. And SBI used to say, okay, I'll need this much of interest rate. That interest rate is called as call money. That interbank, sir, interbank. Sir, if the same thing happens for 14 days, that it is used to call as what? Notice money. And the interest rate used to decide based on a concept called MIBOR. Mumbai Interbank Offer Rate. As like LIBOR, London Interbank Offer Rate, the banks, okay, the bank, interbank, okay, if they borrow each other, so the interest rate used to be, okay, calculated based on what? MIBOR. Now this call money, because as now the banks will go for borrowing directly from the RBI, now the call money concept is not that much used, but still you may see, okay, they ask this as this statement is correct, sir. So zero coupon bonds are the interest bearing short term bonds issued by the scheduled commercial banks to corporation. No, sir, here zero coupon bonds is a debt security. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, bonds are nothing but what? Debt security that does not pay interest, but remember that it does not pay interest, sir. Okay, interest, but instead it trade at a deep discount only, sir. It trade at what? Discount only. Okay, which means what? See, bond value is 10,000 rupees, but they'll trade at a rate of what? Okay, 1,000 rupees. They'll trade at a rate of 900 rupees. 900 rupees. After maturity, at the time of maturity, you will get the maturity value of what? 1,000 rupees. These bonds will not have what? Any interest rate. So this statement is wrong. So option is 1, 3. But easily you can eliminate with help of what? Second option only. That is what elimination method will work. But still, if you require the explanation of other topic, this one, sir. Now, where is the option? With reference to foreign direct investment in India, which one of the following is considered? Which one of the considered is major characteristics. Major characteristics. Now, is that options are not there? Now, with reference to foreign direct investment in India, FDI, which one of the following is considered its major characteristics? First, we should know that, sir, we have two types of foreign investment. One is FDI, one is what? FPI. Generally, earlier we used to call it as what? If the foreign investors are investing in the financial markets via bonds and shares, is called as FPI. And other than shares and bonds, if they directly invest in the economic activities, it is called as what? FDI. But in 2013-14, there was a committee called Arvind Mayaram Committee has changed the definition based on the international standard. Now, what is the definition of FPI, sir? If the foreign investors purchases up to 10% of the shares of Indian company, then it is called as FPI. If they purchase more than 10% of the shares of Indian company, it is called as what? FDI, sir. This is the definition we are following now as per the international standard. Now they are talking about FDI. Okay, which one of the following is considered as what? Major characteristics. Remember that, major characteristics. Sir, here, it is the investment through capital instruments essentially in a listed company. No, sir. That is called as what? FPI. Generally, we call it as what? FPI. So wrong. It is largely non-debt creating capital flow. Be there only, sir. Be there only. I'll come back. It is the investment which involves debt servicing. No, sir. Okay. No, sir. It is not debt servicing. It is the investment made by foreign institutional investors in the government securities. Earlier we used to have FII, okay, Q qualified foreign investors like this. But in 2013, there was a committee called KM Chandrasekhar Committee. That KM Chandrasekhar Committee said that if any investors invest in the securities, that is shares and bonds, that will be considered as what? FPI only. This is also wrong, sir. Now, sir, is that it is largely non-debt creating capital flow? Yes, sir. It is not debt. Remember that. It is not. We are not borrowing. Remember that. We are not borrowing. The foreign investors only coming to India to invest their money, sir. They are coming to India to invest their money. It is one type of what? Non-debt. Okay, which means if they feel India is not a good country, they remove whatever, like what they will do, sir. They'll stop their business, like whatever the business they are doing, they'll stop, or whatever the shares they are having, they sell it and they'll move from India, sir. But whenever they come, which means what? Sir, they're coming with capital, sir. It may be FPI or it may be FDI. They're coming with what? Capital. So that is non-debt creating capital flow, sir. So this second one is the correct answer. So answer B, sir. Answer B. I'll write here because options are not available. Okay. Now come to the international trade with respect to your external sector, sir. Again, this is trend related questions. Okay. Trend related question. Here, with reference to international trade of India at present they are talking. Which of the following statements are correct? Now, India's merchandise is nothing but goods. Remember that always. Goods. Exports are lesser than merchandise imports. Okay, merchandise imports. Now listen this. Sir, always we in the balance of payment, if you remember, balance of payment chapter, if you have read. So in current account, we always, okay, say that India is having what? Current account deficit. Why India is having current account deficit? Because India's import is always more than what? Export, which means India is having what deficit, sir? Trade deficit. Yes, this is correct, sir. Merchandise means goods. India's exports of iron and steel, chemical, fertilizers, machineries have decreased in recent years. Now remember this. Sir, with respect to this, this statement is wrong, sir. Imports of iron, steel, chemical, fertilizers, machinery. Sir, with respect to this, recent one, present one they are talking about. Sir, India is fully dependent on what? Imports, sir. With respect to chemicals, we are fully dependent, if you know that. Even in fertilizers, sir. N, that is your nitrogen, that is urea. Okay, sir, I can say 90% of the urea we produce domestically. But your PK, the major nutrients, PK, phosphate and potash, sir, almost 90% of the PK we import from other countries. So in that only we can say that no, sir, it is not reduced. Okay, so this statement is wrong. So wherever second is wrong, you can eliminate like that only, but don't worry. As one is correct, either 134 only the answer, that is correct only, but still let me take the third one. India's export of services are more than its import of service. Correct, sir. We import the service, mainly business service, transport service. Okay, we import, but compared to import, our export is more because of what? Your software service export, sir. So this statement is correct. Now, India suffers from overall trade or current account deficit. Yes, sir. Present as they asked, yes, sir. Presently, remember after independence, in between only 2001 to 2004, India had current account surplus. Remember this, current account surplus. Other than these 3 years, every year, even now, India is having current account deficit, sir. Even now. Why? Because our import is more than what? Our exports are. So answer is 134. Answer is 134, sir. Now come to the next one. That's the question related to terminology, sir. West Texas Intermediate. If you are following the newspaper, so this one was in news like anything, sir. It is related to what? Crude oil. Sir, why this was in news? Because if you check it out in America in the month of, okay, June, okay, in the month of what? June. In the month of June, the petrol prices were, okay, lesser than, okay, I can say that the production cost, something like that, there was a news. So what is this? It can say that the crude oil prices is decided in America with the help of this West Texas Intermediate, sir. Okay, with basically it's a future contract, sir, from the producer and the seller. It is a mutual, I can say, contract, the future contract. So they use this terminology called West Texas Intermediate. Okay, now nothing much, it's just a terminology. Now, sorry, the next one is fiscal policy. Okay, now in the fiscal policy, non-financial debt includes which of the following? Non-financial debt. Okay, now listen this. So non-financial debt means what? First, you should know that. You should know what is non-financial debt. Sir, here non-financial debt is nothing but, okay, sir, the debt held by the government. Take example, the debt held by the government. Debt held by the government, household, and companies. Okay, we have know that the debt held by government will borrow the, okay, government will raise the capital, okay, via what? Securities. Okay, via what? Securities. So that we call it as FD, that is your fiscal deficit. Now the debt held by what? Household. Okay, debt held by what? Companies. Regularly, sir, household will go for what? Maybe a house loan, maybe car loan. Okay, companies also go for what? For, they'll take the loan with respect to what? Okay, everything, sir. Okay, take example. See, basically, I'll see, assume that I am having a house, sir. With respect to that, I have taken the housing loan, or maybe I'll take the what? Car loan. Maybe I'll take personal loan. Sir, companies, maybe they'll go for what? Okay, companies also take the loan with respect to what? Okay, production or distribution, anything, sir. So now take it out. Non-financial debt includes which of the following? Okay, here the government will raise the capital with help of what? Securities. I told you just now, I told you that there are two types of securities for the government side. One is treasury bill, one is what? Government securities. See, the government will raise the capital for the short term, it is called as treasury bill. If they raise the capital for more than 1 year, it is called as what? Government securities. Here, now check it out. Housing loan owned by household. Yes, sir. Just now. Amount outstanding on credit card. Yes, sir. I use the credit card. Okay, if the amount is outstanding in the credit card, that is also what? Loan only. Okay. Next. Treasury bill. Yes, sir. So the option is 3, sir. The option is 3. Okay. Option is 3. Now come to the next one. International trade. The next one is international trade. The continue. With reference to trade related investment measures, which of the following statements are correct? Now, what is this TRIMS? First, you should know that. Sir, we have a international trade organization called what? WTO, sir. Okay. So this WTO is established. Okay. This WTO is established in 1995 to reduce tariff and non-tariff barriers. Non-tariff barriers among the countries. Now, with respect to maintain the fair trade, with respect to maintaining what? Fair trade among the member countries, WTO has introduced various trade agreements, sir. The WTO has introduced what? Various trade agreements. Various trade agreements. Is it okay? Now, here, as the WTO has, okay, WTO has introduced various trade agreements. One of the agreement of WTO is your TRIM, sir. That is trade related, as like we have agreement on agriculture, we have GATT, okay, we have technical barriers to trade, we have SPS, okay, phyto and sanitary, like sanitary and phytosanitary measures, SPS, we have TRIPS, we have GATS for services. Like that, there are more than 60 agreements are there, sir. There are more than 60 agreements are there. Out of that, one of the agreement is your TRIM, sir. Is that okay? Now, what is this agreement called TRIM says about? TRIM says about. Sir, here the TRIMS is quantitative, it's put quantitative restriction on imports by foreign investors are prohibited. Sir, basically, what is this quantitative restrictions? Quantitative restrictions are nothing but non-tariff barriers, sir. What is that non-tariff barriers? Basically, assume that India, okay, America is exporting some goods to India, sir, so that they can access Indian market. WTO says that, hey, India should, okay, go for what? Opening the market. But India will say, no, sir, I can't because it affect my country. As see how to, okay, how to create a barrier for American goods to enter Indian market. They'll go for what? Either they increase the tax, okay, that is called as tariff barriers, or they go for what? Providing the subsidy to their producers, okay, their domestic producers, so that foreign investors, foreign investors like our foreign products cannot enter the Indian market, even though it enter, okay, the foreign products price will be higher compared to what? Domestic, okay, domestic product. That is called as quantitative that is called as what? Sorry, the tariff and non-tariff barriers. With respect to that, that is what? Quantitative restrictions, sir. Now here your trims, your trim says that, your trim says that this quantitative restrictions on imports by foreign investors should be removed, sir. That is what obviously WTO says, that this tariff and non-tariff barriers should be what? Either quantitative or non-quantitative, both should be removed. Yes, the trim says that it should be prohibited. Okay. Now, this is the first one. They apply to investment measures related to trade in both goods and services. Yes, sir. If any foreign investors is investing in other country related to goods and services, based on this agreement only, it is okay. The WTO will follow that based on this agreement only. This is the second statement. Third one, sir. They are not concerned with the regulation of foreign investment. Yes, sir. Is wrong, sir. Basically, they are also concerned with the regulation of foreign investment. Because take example in India, in FDI, with respect to e-commerce, okay, in inventory model, 0% investment is allowed. Foreign investment is allowed. So is that okay? Any foreign investment without without following the regulation of India, they can come to India? No, sir. They have to follow the trims, even though it is applicable to all the WTO member countries. They have to follow the regulation of the member country with respect to foreign investment, sir. So the option 1 and 2 is correct. Option 1 and 2 is correct, sir. Okay. Now come to the next one, sir. Come to the next one. Related to monetary policy. Okay, related to monetary policy. Sir, remember monetary policy or money policy, you should remember one word, sir. Okay, basically. Okay. So what is that? Sir, here, okay, if you make the table like this, if you make the table, it is easy for you people to understand, sir. It is easy for you people to understand. Sir, why you say that? Sir, basically most of the time we get a word in the newspaper that RBI is following dear monetary policy, RBI is following tight monetary policy, RBI is following expansion monetary policy. Like that, most of the time you will get this word, sir. Here the question arises is, so what is this tight monetary policy, dear monetary policy? Okay, what is this dovish monetary policy? What is this hawkish monetary policy? Hawkish monetary policy. Okay, so when you consider that, okay, when you know the table, okay, what is that expansionist monetary policy? So if they follow expansionist monetary policy, what will happen? What will happen? Or sir, if the question arises is when the RBI will go for reducing what? The CRR, when the RBI will go for reducing the repo rate, okay, when the RBI will go for what? Increasing the repo rate. Sir, just a small table you have to remember, sir. If you remember that particular table with respect to that, if you remember the particular table, so easily you can check it out, sir. Sir, basically remember now, listen this. Sir, here when we consider, okay, the expansional policy and this one. Now they're talking about what? If the RBI decide to adopt an expansionist monetary policy, expansionist. So what is this expansionist monetary policy, sir? Expansionist. Sir, expansionist is nothing but, okay. So which of the following would it not do? The question is, would it not do? This is a statement because even I thought would do. Okay, now, sir, if the expansion is means what? RBI wants to increase the money supply, sir. RBI wants to increase the money supply in the market. Remember that. You leave this, all this again. That much explanation is not required now. RBI wants to increase what? Money supply in the market, sir. Expansionist. Okay, expansion. Now, sir, cut and optimize the statutory liquidity ratio. Okay, increase the marginal standing facility rate. Cut the bank rate and repo rate. Sir, remember, would do means what? This statement and this statement is correct. Because if the RBI reduces the SLR from, okay, 20% to 18%, assume that. Now bank can lend more. Remember that is expansion to increase the money policy. Or assume that if the RBI reduces the repo rate from, okay, 6% to 5% means what? Banks can borrow more money from what? RBI at a lesser interest rate and then they can lend. But what is the question, sir? Would it not do? Which means if they increase the marginal standing facility, okay, if they increase the marginal standing facility, that is MSF, it is again basically MSF is also called as bank rate. We consider, okay, we considered as equally bank rate. So if the MSF increases, remember, if MSF increases, it is not expansionist policy. Remember that. Okay, it is not expansion policy. So that is why the option is this one. The 2 only. Okay, the option is only 2, sir. Okay, now come to the next one. LPG impact. With reference to Indian economy, after 1991 economic liberalization, consider the following statement. Okay, consider following statements. Now the question arises is, sir, in 1991 we know that India has introduced economic reforms called what? LPG, sir. Okay, India has introduced economic reforms called what? LPG. Now, after the economic liberalization, basically that liberalization, privatization, globalization, what has happened to Indian economy, sir? Rather, the various things which has taken place with respect to economy. Now, let me take this. Sir, worker productivity per worker at 2004-5 prices increased in urban area while it decreased in rural areas. This is the first statement, sir. Sir, the question arises is, sir, worker productivity in urban areas, they are talking that in urban areas is increased and rural area it is decreased. This is the question they are talking about. Sir, as we know that we should consider what? Okay, we should consider the total, how many workers are there. Okay, take example, total population means what? Total population means 100. Out of that, how many are dependent population? Okay, dependent population. How many are labor force? Labor force. Within that, how many people are working? That is called as worker force. The working force. Is that okay? Now, in that working force, okay, after economic liberalization, the worker productivity in urban area is increased while it is decreased in rural areas. No, sir. According to the government website, so with respect to worker productivity, which has given with respect to across different worker, the table I'll attach with respect to this. Okay, the table. Okay, I'll attach it. Sir, it is not increased. Remember, it is not decreased in the rural area, sir. It is not decreased in the rural area. The worker productivity is not decreased, sir. The first statement is wrong, sir. I'll attach that table for you people with respect to economic survey. The percentage of share of rural area in the workforce is steadily increased. Sir, how come, sir? We know that even today, more than 55% of the people in India are depends on what? Agriculture only. Okay. Workforce. See, remember the percentage share of rural areas in the workforce steadily increased. How come, sir? Sir, once upon a time before 90, I can say that 1991 in that period, maybe 70% of the people used to work in what? Rural areas. Now, as India is moving toward more and more urbanization, sir, in rural areas, the percentage share of the workforce has steadily decreased, sir. Steadily decreased. This one and this one is wrong. Even with the help of one only, you can come up with what? The option. But as 3 and 4, okay, we have to check. Now, is that 3 only or 3 and 4? Now, let me take, which means 3 is correct. Okay, the rural areas, the growth in non-farm economy increased. Yes, sir, we can say that. We can say. Okay, we can say. The growth rate in rural employment decreased. Growth rate in rural employment decreased. Yes, sir. The growth rate with respect to rural employment decreased. Okay, so the option is 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Again, difficulty level higher, sir, because it's not so easy to understand. Okay, I'll recommend rather than you can skip this only, sir. You can skip. Now, so this question, because last month, as the government has passed a bill in the parliament to control what? Cooperative societies, because earlier RBI did not had that much of control on what? Cooperative society. They had some control on what? Urban cooperative societies, but not all. Under Banking Regulation Act 1949, RBI did not had enough control on the cooperatives. Now, so under this act, under this, I can say that under the presently the bill is passed in the parliament. Under that, now RBI has more power to control what? Cooperatives, sir. Here they're talking about mainly rural cooperatives, sir. Here they're talking about what? Mainly rural cooperatives. Sir, basically cooperatives, there are two types. One is rural, one is urban, sir. Okay, here as they're talking about only rural, let me take rural. Even in rural, we have two types, sir. One is short term, one is long term. Remember that. One is short term and long term. Within short term, remember, okay, in short term, the first is we have PACS, Primary Agricultural Cooperative Societies. To control that, we have DCCS, that is district, okay, central cooperative banks or something, okay. Our district credit cooperative societies only they call it as district credit cooperative societies. And at last, at state level, there will be Apex Bank. Here again, at mandal level or taluk level, we have what? Land Development Bank. And state level, again, state Apex Land Development Bank, like this. Urban, we don't require, sir. Here, this primary agricultural credit cooperative societies. Okay, now come to this statement, sir. In terms of short-term credit delivery to the agriculture sector, district central cooperative banks, this DCS, DCCB, DCCBS, deliver more credit in comparison to scheduled commercial bank and RRB. No, sir, it is wrong. Sir, why? Now come to this as scheduled commercial bank and RRBs. Sir, in India, you may say that no, sir, these banks only will give more loan. Nothing like that. Sir, in India, we have a concept called PSL, sir, priority sector lending. In India, if bank is giving 100% net credit, if the net credit of the bank is 100%, out of that, 18% compulsory commercial bank should lend it to what? Agriculture sectors. 18%. Basically, the PSL target is 40%, but 18% is for agriculture only. In terms of what? In terms of, remember, the number of branches, the number of capital, that is deposit the banks receive, the amount of what? The money is the lent by commercial banks. Okay, so with respect cooperative banks, there I can say that capital is very less, sir. So share, remember they asked about what? More credit, no, sir. It is given by commercial banks and RRB, because for RRB, priority sector lending is 75%. Okay, so the first statement is wrong, sir. One of the most important functions of DCCB is to provide funds to, yes, sir, PACS, Primary Agricultural Credit Societies. Yes, sir, correct. This statement is correct. So 1, 2 only. 2 only. Next, come to the next one. Okay, with respect to global financial crisis, if another global financial crisis in the near future, which of the following action policies are most likely give some immunity to India? We know that in 2007-8, there was a subprime crisis in America, sir. This subprime crisis, even though this epicenter of the subprime crisis in America, the aftershock was felt in India also, sir. Correct? As India is a globalized economy, so you can also felt, okay, the global financial crisis. Now they are asking that if anything like global financial crisis may happen, what we have to. Now go back to the, like, let me take the third one. Maintaining full capital account convertibility. Remember, in 1997, East Asian financial crisis in East Asia, like Vietnam, Indonesia, in these countries, East Asian financial crisis was taken place only because of opening, okay, in like their economy for full capital account convertibility, which means what? Sir, in FD and FPI, which means 100% foreign investment is allowed in all the sectors. But in India, even today, we are maintaining what? Partial capital account convertibility, because, sir, if you allow full capital account convertibility, what they will do? Take an example. If you say 100% foreign investment is allowed, okay, in all the sector, foreign investors, take example, mainly in FPI, sir, what they will do? Today, today morning, they'll purchase some bonds and shares, sir. Today morning. Okay, if they feel that in that particular company, okay, that profit is not that much, they sell everything, they'll get the rupee, and rupee will be converted into dollar, and they'll run away from India. That is why FPI is also called as what? Hot money, sir. Remember, this cannot be. If you may, like, as of now, even the Tarapur Committee on Full Capital Account Convertibility in 1997 also recommended that India should go to full capital account convertibility only when they have given some rules and regulations. India should have 6 months of what? Enough forex reserve. Our GDP growth rate should be this much. Our fiscal deficit should be 3.5% of GDP. Our inflation should be within the range of 3 to 5%. Then only you can go for. Otherwise, it is not. And with respect to global financial, this is not the best thing. Wherever 3 is there, you remove that. Now you have to check either 1 and 2 or 1 only. Now, opening up of more foreign banks. What is the use, sir? Sir, opening up of more foreign banks maybe increases what? Financial inclusion. I agree. Okay. Not with respect to what? It will not give immunity to India at all, sir. Then what is the first one? Not depending on short-term foreign borrowings. Yes, sir. We should not depend on, we should not more depend on what? Okay. Not depending on short-term foreign borrowings. We should ensure that in India only, okay, we should increase the economic activities so that we should not like depend on them for the borrowing. Now, the next one, again in the banking. Sir, if you withdraw 1 lakh rupees in cash from your demand deposit account at your bank, the immediate effect on aggregate money supply in the economy will be. Now remember, sir, banks are nothing but financial intermediaries. In the financial bank are the financial intermediaries or the financial middleman. They accept the deposit. The same deposit they will give as what? Loan. Correct? In deposit, they have two types, sir. One is demand deposit and one is your time deposit or term deposit. Demand, time. Okay. Within this demand, we have two types, sir. One is your current account and savings account. Time deposit, you have your FD and RD, sir. What is demand? On your demand, whenever, see, you can open the account, that is savings account or current account. Business people will open the current account. In savings account, today you deposit the 1 lakh rupees. Today afternoon only you can withdraw, sir. On your demand, you can withdraw. Now listen this. If you withdraw 1 lakh rupees in cash from your demand deposit account at your bank, the immediate effect on aggregate money supply in the economy, immediate effect, sir. Remember, is that money supply, okay, with respect to 1 lakh rupees will increases, it reduces 1 lakh rupees, it increase it by 1 lakh rupees. So basically, to leave it unchanged, sir. Sir, what is this to leave it unchanged? Basically, if you consider this, sir, if you deposit 1 lakh rupees in the demand deposit account, okay, does not mean that even if you withdraw also, what is the guarantee that you are going to spend that money immediately? Okay, what is the guarantee that you are going to spend immediately, sir? That is why, so the option is to leave it unchanged, sir. To leave it unchanged. And the last one, the gold tranche or reserve tranche refers to, remember, this is the credit system guaranteed by IMF to its members, sir. Okay, so basically the reserve tranche is, what is this, sir? Sir, it is the component. As you know that in IMF, all the member countries should give what? Quota, sir. Okay. Based on the quota only, they can borrow. They can borrow. That borrowing, okay, for the borrowing, the member countries in IMF, they uses this system, sir, this credit system. Okay, the IMF uses, this is the credit system used by the IMF if they want to give the credit to what? Okay, its members, sir. Credit to its members. Okay, so these are the various like for various questions, these are the key answers. Okay, sir, once again I'm telling, whatever the questions, maybe 17 or 18 questions we have discussed with respect to economy, maybe the, sir, that your perspective with respect to that key answers may be different. Even that's what I told you in the first only. Maybe the UPSC, okay, analysis with respect to the question will be different. Maybe, sir, with respect to the sentence wise. So these are, see, with respect to this IMF question, there is no chances of changing the answer. Remember that. But with respect to the statement wise, maybe, sir, maybe the plus or minus 5% error will be there. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you. All the best.